This video is brought to you by Family Stacker and viewers like you. Here are several modern, developed, or semi-developed nations that experienced sudden or severe breakdowns in normal life. Situations where food, money, safety, or government services collapsed faster than most imagined. Quick thanks to yesterday's first, Mud Dog. Congrats, friendo. We salute you. Argentina, 2001 to 2002. Currency collapse. Banks froze accounts. Unemployment soared. Crime exploded. Middle class ruined overnight. Here's some key lessons. Never assume your money in the bank is safe. Have tangible assets, barter skills, and community ties. It's not beneath you to know how to wheel and deal a bit, and the thought of community ties might make you sigh. But like it or not, you are part of a greater network of human beings, similar to an insect hive. So if you don't already, have a couple real friends, would you? Compromise can, of course, be compromising, but it's very difficult to quantify just how useful they could be one day. They could be useless, possibly even detrimental. Let's not kid ourselves, that's always a possibility. But they could also very well be life-saving. Thoughts of isolation may give you the warm and fuzzies, but isolation is a very poor political or war strategy. And for the individual, I would assume that would mean it is a very poor survival strategy. And I will add, it's likely a very poor thrival strategy. Let's face it, we don't just want to survive, we want to thrive. If you have not already, please hit that like button. It lets me know to make more videos like this. And what is a video like this? This is me having my coffee in the morning, randomly pondering out loud. And you are privy to it. In fact, I also look forward to your comments. I would be foolish to have a cabinet of thousands of like-minded individuals and not capitalize on it. And I'm not talking monetarily. I want to read what you really think to help me better form consensus. The outcome hopefully being, I'll get smarter, you'll get smarter, we'll get smarter. Smarter about not just surviving, but also thriving. How does that sound to you? I'll continue. Greece, 2010 to 2015. Debt crisis led to bank closures, cash limits, mass unemployment, and pension cuts. If I recall correctly, they could only take out 60 euros a day from their ATM machines. How would you like that if you could only take out a little bit each day from your bank account while the currency was being devalued? When I hear the word pension, it kind of reminds me of the word tenure. You assume it's in place and you assume it is permanent. Similar to how we feel about a bridge when we drive across it. But I suppose pensions can fail. Well, at least they did in Greece. Here's some key lessons for that SHTF scenario. Cash reserves and precious metals became lifelines when banks restricted withdrawals. And I would imagine it didn't hurt to have some cash lying around your home. Let me know what you think about that scenario in the comments below. And I'll move on. Venezuela, 2013 to present. What happened? Hyperinflation, food shortages, political repression, and blackouts despite being oil rich. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard scientists were having issue with the Venezuelans eating porcupines and flamingos. I'm not sure exactly why it was an issue. I mean, I couldn't help but think at the time how porcupines actually come with nice little hors d'oeuvre toothpicks when they're finally finished and ready to serve to your guest. I'm so glad you made friends. All right, what are some key lessons? Self-reliance in food, backup power, and strong community barter networks became survival tools. There's that being able to wheel and deal coming up useful again. I think it's important as stackers that we actually go to local coin shops and not always be just ordering it off the internet. I know a local area network is not for everyone. There's definitely possible security issues that could rise. But if you don't have a local area network and the SHTF does happen, well, that's a security issue as well, isn't it? Also, do you keep some foods around in your pantry that maybe last a while? Like some canned goods or dry goods, things that last a couple years? Do you even know who your local farmers are? I don't, and they sell milk, vegetables, fruits, and yes, even meats. All the stuff that should be pretty much the only stuff you buy from your grocery store. The healthy food that perimeters all of the processed stuff. And that's what we'll call it. We'll just call it stuff. Do you like to eat food or do you like to eat stuff? Or maybe both. Maybe cans are stuff, but you still got to stack them, just in case. And if there's an SHTF that has anything to do with the food and a farmer can be of service to you, do you think he's going to take care of the people that he's been dealing with for quite some time, or strangers that just walk in during the SHTF? It's much better to have those relationships already in place. And maybe find out how your local farmer feels about precious metals, and maybe even copper. Who knows? You may be wheeling and dealing in that SHTF before you know it. Let's hope not. But in a thrival scenario, at least you got another stacker, buddy. So many people say, why would I buy a 1 ounce gold coin? I don't have anyone to sell it to. Maybe your new farmer friend could take a 1 ounce gold coin off of you if you need to offload one. But again, this would be a relationship you want to build during a time of thrival. Once the S hits the fan, this farmer is not going to want to talk to some stranger about his precious metals. I think I'm going to go buy some stuff from the farmers and get to know who they are. This video, it's influencing me, and I'm not even done making it yet. I'll continue with a couple more examples, and then I'll talk about some common warning signs before a collapse. How about the Ukraine, 2014 and 2022 to present? Political upheaval and war caused instant disruption. No fuel, no banking, no safety. No safety. What would you want for that? Some canned goods? What are you going to do? Throw it at them? Here in the USA, we may not think that a neighboring country could be a real threat to us. But how about neighboring states or even where we live? Conflict doesn't always have to be between countries. I'm assuming it can be from within one. Anyhow, so what are some key lessons we can take away from the Ukraine incident? Keep bug out plans, fuel reserves, and personal documents ready to move fast. I'm not a fan of bugging out, but no one wants to leave their home. But does that mean we shouldn't have a plan in case there's a fire? And if the place you live becomes a literal war zone, well, I would assume that's no place to be. It would be sad, but I would have to leave much of my copper bullion behind. I'm not lugging that anywhere. I'll continue. Lebanon, 2019 to present. Banking system collapsed. Hyperinflation, blackouts, and basic services failed. All right, I think we have enough examples to where we can see some patterns. What are the key takeaways? Store physical goods, cash, food, fuel, water filters before paper wealth becomes worthless. All right, so real quickly, what are some common warning signs before a collapse? I mean, it would be good to know ahead of time, right? All right, here's one. Rapid inflation or currency devaluation. Food, gas, rent prices rise faster than wages. All right, well, that's just one warning sign. Let's move on to the second one. Bank restrictions or capital controls. Limits on withdrawals or temporary closures. If that's just a warning sign, well, I guess things are about to get real bad after that, huh? All right, number 3, political instability. Protest. Sudden leadership changes. Emergency powers. Emergency powers. I wonder if that's anything like executive orders. I find the rise of executive orders a bit unsettling, no matter what party uses them. But what are you going to do? But at this moment, I do wonder if that's an example of emergency power. All right, the fourth common warning sign before a collapse. Energy or supply chain disruption. We've seen that here in the States in the past few years, and I think we even see a little bit of it now. Some products are still very difficult to get. Selections are just not as robust as they used to be. Is it at the point now where it's a warning sign? Maybe not. But how about the fact that we've seen empty shelves in the past 5 years? That could be a sign. You still with me here? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below about any of these things, all right? If you're just nodding along like a know-it-all, well, I don't know it all. I would like to hear what you have. All right, I'll continue. Number 5, erosion of trust, corruption, propaganda, and institutions ignoring the rule of law. Number 6, mass layoffs and debt defaults, especially among the middle class. That kind of makes me think of 2008. Number 7, government overreach or crackdowns for your safety, curfews, speech limits, etc. And for your safety was in quotations. Safety is great on the roads or a job site or something, but too much safety in a political circumstance usually just means you're just giving away your power to those trustworthy politicians that just want to protect you. Okay, and the last common warning sign before a collapse, visible desperation, looting, theft, or people queuing for essentials or waiting in lines. Anyhow, when these signs start stacking together, the probability of systemic failure jumps sharply. I would think, like so many scenarios, it's good to have your ducks already in order, rather than being reactionary or trying to play catch up. All right, let's finish all this up on a good note. I'm not trying to convince you an SHTF is imminent. I'm just trying to convince you that it is possible. When you live long enough in a secure environment, it can become very easy to be delusional and think threats do not really exist. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. Religion aside, mankind is the apex predator, and we are surrounded by mankind. There's people with pet tigers. They feed them 80 pounds of red meat each day. Something like that. But anyhow, if they stop feeding it, the relationship quickly changes. All right, so what people could have done or should do now. Preparation doesn't mean paranoia. It's just prudence. Here's what history's survivors often did right. 1. Financial readiness. Keep cash on hand. A few weeks worth of expenses minimum. Oh, you're going to like this one. Hold hard assets. Silver, gold, useful tools. not just digits in a bank. Not no digits in a bank, just not only digits in a bank. Don't keep all your wealth in one institution or currency. And here's that wheeling and dealing again. Learn to barter value. Coffee, batteries, soap, and fuel often become currency. That reminds me, my coffee shelf is getting kind of light. And maybe so is my soap shelf. I stay stocked up on soap for the SHTF. I mean, there's literally S in the HFTF, all right? I mean, that's nasty. But Jay, you got that stuff, you still need to know how to barter, how to wheel and deal. My opinion, rule number 1, let them know it's not free. And if you have to show them, well, that's even better. Some people, they only learn by example. Yeah, but after that, you're just negotiating price. No big deal. Take it or leave it. And when everybody finds a deal they'll take, there you go. And in time, you'll develop trust, which makes trade easier, more abundant, and hey, you may even be able to establish credit again. Then we can all work towards prosperity, just so it can collapse again. It's beautiful. It's the circle of life. Remember, none of this is paranoia. I mean, when you take your car on the road, you buy car insurance. You don't dwell on car accidents all the time, but you get the insurance. And it's irresponsible to drive without the insurance. Just because we grew up in a good world doesn't mean it's going to stay like that naturally. We must learn how to maintain it. And if not, risk unleashing the gates of hell. All right, real quick, more on what people could have done or should have done or should do now. Number 2, food and water. Have at least 3 to 6 months of shelf-stable food. Rice, beans, canned goods, freeze-dried. Own a water filter and have a few gallons stored. Maybe grow something, even herbs or vegetables in pots. Little things may not seem like a big deal, but if many of us are doing it, it will have a cumulative effect. Our society as a whole will be more resilient. A couple pots with a couple herbs isn't going to feed you, but it can make you less of a liability to others, even if it is ever so slightly. Plus, you're working on your green thumb. You may need that one day on a larger scale. I have no green thumb, and maybe I can develop one. Maybe I will take this video as inspiration and go get me a plant, even if it's not an edible plant. All right, I'll continue. Energy and warmth. Backup heat source, wood stove, propane heater. And I have neither. Small solar panel or generator for phone and light. I keep my car gassed up, that may count. Stock extra fuel safely. I have an apartment, that's not happening. That's okay. I'll stock a little extra of the other things for barter. Number 4, community and security. Know your neighbors and local tradespeople. Isolation is a killer. I know, but you gotta make some friends. You can make some practical friends. Maybe view them as associates or co-workers. I'll move on. Learn basic first aid and self-defense. Now I'm inspired again. I need to learn first aid. If something ever happens to someone, it's gonna be legendary to know what to do right away. One time, a rattlesnake bit a man on the crotch. I know, horrible. His best friend, he quickly dialed 911. And the operator said the only way to save him was to suck the poison out. Suffering from the snake bite, he asked, "What did they say?" His best friend looked at him and said, "They said you're gonna die." I'll continue. We're never gonna get this video done. Establish trust networks. People who can trade, share, or defend each other. All right, listen to me and listen to me good. You know what? Let me get my soapbox. Let me step up here. All right, please listen up and listen up good. Stop with the useless friends. If you are the only one in your friend group that can offer any type of rescue or support, then please ask yourself, what are you doing with these people? Maybe you've been disciplined and you're prosperous and they all look up to you or flatter you. But nevertheless, they don't try to help themselves. And maybe they make you feel good, but you need to think about how much that's actually worth. We tend to get friends like this if we are regularly getting intoxicated. And maybe that's the real problem. Like I said earlier, maybe try to go out and make productive friends. Make friends with the farmer. Buy from the farmer. And in time, you may have a good friend there. If you don't work on cars, chum up to your mechanics a bit. You may need them one day. Maybe you know some psychos that go to the range a little too often. Maybe that's you. People like that, they may not be the best guests at birthday parties, but they could come in very useful during other events, such as an SHTF. But you get the idea. People that are actually doing something. People that are learning things. I'm not saying keep score with every single person in your relationships. That's no way to live. Just don't be the only savior in your network. You may be the one that needs saving one day. All right, that's enough of that. I'm off the soapbox. Remember, I make these videos with me in mind as my own audience. I have to remind myself not to have useless people around me. And at the same time, not to go into isolation. All right, I'll continue with what people could have done or should do now to avoid the suffering of an SHTF, or at least to minimize it. 5. Mobility. Keep your vehicle maintained and fueled. Have a go bag with ID, cash, flashlight, meds, change of clothes, and water. Also, know multiple routes out of your area. I would even add keep your cell phone charged. I mean, just keeping your cell phone charged and your car gassed up. I'm always getting on my parents to keep their phones on them and to keep their phones charged. It can literally save your life in the right circumstances. Sometimes we don't all get the SHTF, just one person gets a serving. A nice single serving of SHTF just for you. And when and if that circumstance should happen, friendo, I wish you the best of luck. I really do. But remember what luck is. Luck is where opportunity meets preparation. And though an SHTF isn't really an opportunity, at least a good one, it is an opportunity for your preparedness to shine. Number 6, mental readiness. Understand that quote-unquote normal can vanish overnight. Stay calm under stress. Panic kills faster than hunger. Think in terms of adaptability. How can I solve this? Not who can fix this. All right, let's wrap this up with the hard truth. Every civilization that thought it can't happen here eventually faced a reckoning. The systems that keep our lives running, energy grids, banks, internet, logistics, are interlinked and fragile. A breakdown in one can ripple through the rest. The point isn't fear, it's awareness. If you can spot the warning signs early, you can turn panic into preparation. Thousand Air Radio, wicked shout.